Suspect arrested in Charlie Kirk. Assassination as nation grapples with political violence. Pulse News analysis. A suspect has been taken into custody in the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University, but investigators say a definitive motive remains unclear. The arrest comes amid a national surge of rhetoric, high-level political reactions, and urgent calls for leaders to lower the temperature on partisan violence. What happened? The facts, so far: Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking at an outdoor event at Utah Valley University. Videos released by authorities show the assailant jumping from a roof and fleeing into nearby woods. Investigators later recovered a rifle in a wooded area. The FBI offered a reward of up to $100,000 for tips that could lead to an arrest during the manhunt. Local and national law enforcement say a suspect, identified in multiple reports as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, was arrested after an intensive multi-day search. Officials have not yet publicly confirmed a motive. Utah authorities say the suspect has expressed leftist ideology in some online material, but that investigators are still piecing together motive, timeline, and any outside influences. The suspect is reportedly not cooperating with investigators at this time. Political fallout, escalation, and restraint. Within hours of the shooting, political actors moved quickly. President Donald Trump told Fox News he believed, with a high degree of certainty, the suspect was in custody, and pledged to posthumously award Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Trump's broader rhetoric since the killing, including calls to beat the hell out of the radical left lunatics, has drawn sharp criticism for inflaming political tensions at a delicate moment. Other leaders, including some governors and members of Congress, urged de-escalation. On the Democratic side, lawmakers such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others publicly warned about rising threats, and in some cases postponed or canceled events citing security concerns. Security precautions across Capitol Hill and at campaign events increased as officials and the public watched how the investigation and political responses would evolve. Why motive matters, and why certainty is scarce. Early arrests in high-profile attacks often lead to rapid public speculation. But law enforcement cautions that motive, planning, and influences, online or otherwise, must be established before drawing broad conclusions about political responsibility. Officials have pointed to potentially radicalizing online behavior and political views in the suspect's past, yet investigators stress those details do not necessarily explain whether the attack was politically motivated or criminally premeditated. The distinction matters for both legal charges and the national conversation about political violence. The broader context: partisan violence in America. Political violence has been rising as a theme in recent years, from the January 6, 2021, Capitol attack to targeted assaults and threats against elected officials and public figures. Analysts point out that politically motivated attacks come from across the spectrum. However, patterns of rhetoric, targeted dehumanization, and extremist organizing on both far-right and far-left fringes have been repeatedly flagged by researchers as risk factors. Public officials and civil society groups are calling for calmer rhetoric, tougher threat assessment coordination, and social media platforms to do more to curb violent radicalization. Voices on the record: President Donald Trump announced the arrest and said he will posthumously award Kirk the Medal of Freedom, while also using bellicose language aimed at the radical left. Utah Governor Spencer Cox, law enforcement, emphasized the suspect is in custody, but cautioned motive is not confirmed and the investigation remains ongoing. Other lawmakers and commentators, mixed reactions. Some immediately blamed opposing political camps. Others urged restraint and unity to avoid replicating or normalizing political violence. What to watch next? Charges and court filings. Whether prosecutors file federal or state charges, and whether authorities make a formal motive statement publicly. Forensic and digital evidence. Investigators are reportedly reviewing online posts, messages, and the suspect's digital footprint to establish planning and intent. Political and security responses. Any policy responses, from gun safety measures to enhanced security at public events, and whether major political figures alter rhetoric. Bottom line: this is a live story with serious national ramifications. A suspect is in custody, but motive and full context remain unconfirmed. The episode has already strained an American political moment that few would call calm. How leaders respond in the next days, whether by cooling rhetoric, advancing concrete safety steps, or amplifying partisan blame, will shape both the investigation's social fallout and the country's political climate going forward. This has been Pulse News Analysis. We'll continue following this developing story as new information becomes available.